Rain hammered against the diner windows the night everything changed, the night a single dad's quiet strength shattered a billionaire's arrogance and reminded a room full of people what humanity really meant. No one expected that a man who walked in with a toddler on his hip, clothes still damp from his second job, would silence a man whose signature could move empires. But sometimes the world forgets. Kindness has a power money can't buy, and memories have a way of returning when you least expect them. That night began like any other for Elijah Cole. He had 20 minutes between his shift at the auto shop and his overnight cleaning job, and his daughter Lily insisted on pancakes, the fluffy kind, Daddy. So he took her to Maple Leaf Diner, the only place that didn't mind a kid in pajamas or a dad who paid in carefully counted cash. Elijah didn't have much, but what he had, he shared. Especially with the little girl who was his entire universe. Lily swung her legs beneath the booth, humming, her curly hair tied in a crooked ponytail she'd made herself. Daddy, look. That man's suit is shiny like a movie star. Elijah glanced up, smiling, then his heart stumbled. A group of executives were walking in from the private parking side. Their laughter was too loud, their confidence too polished. In the center of them was a man Elijah hadn't seen in almost 16 years, not since high school. A man whose smirk used to make everyone else shrink. Grayson Hale. Billionaire venture capitalist. Tech mogul. Publicly adored. Privately feared. Once the boy who ruled the hallways with charm and cruelty. Elijah swallowed hard, lowering his gaze before Grayson could notice. He didn't want to revisit the past. He didn't want to remember the nights he'd walked home bleeding, the humiliation, the years Grayson spent calling him, nobody, as if it were his real name. But the past had already seen him. Elijah. Someone said. He turned slowly. Grayson stood at his table, perfectly tailored suit, perfect hair, perfect smirk, exactly the same one he used before he destroyed people. Well, Grayson said, loud enough for his whole table to hear. If it isn't, what did I used to call you? He tapped his chin dramatically. Oh right. Still remember me, nobody. His group laughed. Lily flinched, eyes wide. Elijah didn't. He simply reached across the table and wiped syrup from his daughter's chin. But Grayson wasn't done. Didn't think I'd see you around here. You look like you, what is it, fix tires now? Elijah didn't answer. He didn't need to justify a life built on hard work and love. Grayson chuckled, glancing at Lily. Cute kid. Didn't know you had it in you. Then, casually, do you even know who I am now? Elijah finally looked up, calm, composed, steady. I know exactly who you are, he said softly. The question is, do you remember who you used to be? The laughter at Grayson's table died. The billionaire stiffened, smirk flickering. But before the moment could thicken, a voice from behind the counter called, orders up. Elijah, honey, I added extra berries for Lily. Elijah smiled, a real one, and reached for the plates. Grayson blinked, as if trying to process that a man he once broke had found a life that glowed without him. Still, he shook the tension off and gestured to Elijah's booth. Mind if we take this table? Our reservation was messed up. Elijah didn't want trouble. He didn't want attention. We're almost done, he said gently. Oh, no rush, Grayson said, sitting down before Elijah even responded. Actually, you know what'd be fun? Let me treat your meal. Consider it, charity. Nostalgia, even. Lily frowned, whispering, Daddy, what's charity? Elijah placed a hand over hers. Something you don't take from people who don't mean it kindly, he murmured. Grayson laughed sharply. Still dramatic, I see. But then the diner door opened, and everything shifted. A delivery driver burst inside, soaked, shivering, struggling to hold a stack of boxes. Elijah shot up instantly, grabbing half of them before the man dropped them. You okay? Elijah asked. The driver nodded weakly. Slipped in the alley. Twisted my ankle. Can barely walk. Before anyone else reacted, Elijah guided him to a chair, asked for ice, and wrapped the man's ankle with practiced, gentle hands. Grayson's team watched, uncomfortable. Grayson watched, confused. When Elijah finished, the driver whispered, Man, I don't know you, but, thank you. Most people just stare. Elijah smiled. We help each other. It's what we're supposed to do. Lily beamed with pride. Grayson's expression tightened, like something old and unwelcome had squeezed his chest. The diner returned to its usual warmth, but Grayson couldn't stop staring at Elijah. Finally he said, You know, you're nothing like you were in school. Elijah wiped syrup from Lily's face again. I was always this person. You just never looked long enough to see. Grayson didn't reply. Instead, one of his executives, a younger woman named Maya, cleared her throat and said, Mr. Hale, wasn't there a scholarship foundation you used to mention? Something you created because of someone from your past. Grayson's jaw tensed. He shot her a warning glance, but she continued. Didn't you say there was a kid from your school who inspired the entire program? Elijah paused mid-bite. Grayson's voice lowered. Maya, drop it. But Maya didn't. She turned to Elijah. Did you know Mr. Hale donates millions a year to anti-bullying programs? He never said the name, but he said there was someone he wronged growing up, someone he regretted hurting. The diner went silent. Elijah felt Lily leaning against him, small hand gripping his shirt. Grayson swallowed hard. Maya, please. But for the first time in his billionaire life, there was no smirk on his face. Just shame. Elijah exhaled slowly. Grayson, why now? The billionaire stared at his hands. Because success doesn't erase the parts of you you're ashamed of. I built an empire, but your face, 16 years ago, has stayed with me longer than any victory. He looked up, eyes raw. I don't expect forgiveness. I just hope the universe might give me a chance to say I'm sorry. Elijah felt the weight of years pressing on both of them. He thought about the lockers. The shove against the wall. The laughter when he couldn't afford lunch. The name, nobody, whispered until he almost believed it. But then he looked at Lily. Her little hand wrapped around his. Her bright eyes watching, learning. He took a slow breath. Grayson, Elijah said quietly, I don't need an apology for the boy you were. I just need you to be a better man than the one you were. Grayson blinked rapidly. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't acceptance. It was responsibility. And sometimes, that was more powerful. But the night wasn't finished. Maya suddenly said, Mr. Hale, the charity gala tonight. Isn't the keynote speaker sick? Grayson groaned. Yes, and unless someone steps in, the whole event falls apart. Maya looked at Elijah. What about him? Elijah choked on his coffee. Me. I'm nobody important. Grayson winced at the phrase. Maya smiled gently. Sir, you're exactly the kind of person people need to hear. Someone who knows what kindness actually looks like. Elijah hesitated, until Lily whispered, Daddy, I think you should. You always tell me being brave means helping when you can. That settled it. 2 hours later, Elijah found himself standing backstage at a high-end hotel ballroom, Lily in a borrowed sparkly jacket, swinging her legs backstage, eating a cookie the size of her face. Executives whispered around him. Guests in evening gowns checked their programs. Then a voice said, Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our unexpected keynote speaker, Mr. Elijah Cole. Applause rose. Elijah stepped onto the stage. His voice trembled at first. But when he looked down at Lily, whose eyes shone with more pride than any billionaire boardroom, he found his center. He spoke about kindness. About the dignity of struggle. About how small actions ripple out into the world. He didn't mention Grayson. He didn't need to. When he finished, he received a standing ovation. But the real moment was after the lights dimmed. Grayson approached, hands shaking. Elijah, that was more powerful than anything I've ever done. Elijah smiled softly. Maybe we both have a lot of work left to do. Grayson nodded. Let me start here. I want to offer you something. Not charity, not pity, a job at my company. A real position, where your voice matters. Your story matters. Elijah stared, stunned. He thought of Bill's. Of Lily's future. Of stability. Why me? He whispered. Because, Grayson said, voice breaking, you reminded me of the man I'm still trying to become. Elijah nodded slowly. Then let's build something better. For the first time that night, Grayson smiled, not a smirk, but something honest. Something human. And from across the room, Lily whispered to Maya, my dad's a superhero. Maya grinned. Sweetheart, your dad's more than that. He's good. And sometimes, in a world full of power and pride, goodness is what silences the table.